One person that doesn't need this show, she's already a monster superstar. Trump loves her. A lot of us feel like she's the best we've got in Congress, and we're praying to God she's the next governor here in New York, is Elise Stefanik. I love this lady. Elise is back. Good morning, Elise. How are you?
Good morning, Sid. Great to be on your show.
Great to have you back. Before we get to your day a couple of days ago, another disgrace by the Democrats and your possibility of the possible run for governor. This mayor's race, you've really enthusiastically, many times on Twitter, endorsed Curtis Sliwa. Any thoughts as we draw closer to this big mayor's race in November?
Well, if people are tired of the defund the police Democrats, if people are tired of getting their taxes raised higher and higher, leading to the affordability crisis in New York City, the only candidate who supports increasing funding to police is Curtis Sliwa. The only candidate who supports cutting taxes is Curtis Sliwa. Every other candidate, no matter how you break it down, Andrew Cuomo, Eric Adams, Zoran Mamdani, they have all been on the record for defunding the police. They really epitomize the state of today's Democrat Party. You have a raging anti-Semite communist. You have Cuomo, who was run out of office in disgrace, let alone the nursing home scandal, which is horrific and we still need accountability for. And then you have Eric Adams under this cloud of corruption. That is today's Democrat Party. The only way that we save New York City is by electing a Republican mayor, and that's Curtis Sliwa.
I saw you on the Hill grilling Andrew Cuomo not that long ago after you did that amazing job with all the university presidents. You know, that'll go down in history, at least. I know you're humble. That's going to go down in history as one of the great ass-kickings ever. Mike Tyson never did that, okay? But you gave a pretty good beating to Andrew Cuomo, too, and I think you ended that day by saying you ain't never going to be mayor in this. You're never going to hold office in this city. You still feel that way?
Yes, I still feel that way. And unfortunately, it's very concerning that we're seeing a skyrocketing in the polls of Mamdani. And while he's not nearly going to break 50%, it's deeply concerning. But it epitomizes the state of today's Democrat Party, where they are full-blown anti-Semites. They are full-blown communists. And this is not reflective of the common sense New Yorkers that I know. That's why he's never going to break 50% in New York City mayor's race, and it's because of multi-ballot situation. It also shows internally, Sid, the takeover of the Democrat Party to the Working Families Party in New York State. And for those New Yorkers listening, that's the new boss in New York State Democrat politics, is the Working Families, which are radicals. They are more than leftists. They are communists. And it's not safe for New York.
They asked Mamdani in this magazine article where he mentioned me, they said, if you can change your religion and have any other religion, change it. What would it be? And he said Islam. So he didn't even change the religion. And not that Islam's bad, not that Muslims are bad. I'm not saying that. But I am saying that most of our issues in this country are terrorism issues or Muslims. We can lie about it. We can, no. Those are the facts. We're getting ready next year, Elise, to commemorate 25 years of 9/11. Those weren't Orthodox Jews flying those planes into buildings, okay?
It was Islamic jihadists, and Americans know this country was founded on the Judeo-Christian ethic, and Zoran Mamdani has said Israel does not have a right to exist. Zoran Mamdani has appeared with pro-Hamas terrorists in the course of his campaign. Zoran Mamdani is unsafe for New Yorkers. He is unsafe for the Jewish community in New York City. You're going to see an even more expedited mass exodus of people leaving New York City and New York State if this radical anti-Semite communist gets elected. And you know who's going to bend the knee because she doesn't have the strength to be a check on him? And that's Kathy Hochul, the weakest governor in America and the worst governor in America. She does not know what to do. She has refused to condemn Zoran Mamdani, but she also is going to have issues on her left flank because the Working Families Party is watching her closely. They are watching her, and she has refused to, she's trying to have it both ways. People don't want to see that in a governor. They want to see a strong governor in the state of New York who provides a check on these radical, very detrimental proposals that are going to make New York less safe, that are also going to make New York more costly. This same candidate that talks about the affordability crisis in New York City is because of single-party Democrat rule, radical tax and spend policies that hurt hardworking New Yorkers.
You know, I don't like the word hate, but I use it. I'm not going to lie to you, Elise. And there are a couple of races where I'm so enthusiastic about the candidate. Obviously, our mutual friend, President Trump, Curtis Sliwa, and you. You have not officially announced you're running yet, but that's how much I really hate Kathy Hochul. I can't stand her. She's a liar. She always puts herself, her husband, her family, and money ahead of everyday New Yorkers. Now this nonsense that she's pulling with redistricting, where her and Newsom in California, the two worst governors in the nation, are going after Texas and Trump. Do I have to remind Kathy Hochul what they did to Nicole Maliotakis right here in New York when Democrats pulled that redistricting garbage when they, Justin Brannan, redrew the maps? Does she have that short of a memory, Elise Stefanik?
She apparently does have that short of a memory, but New Yorkers have a long memory. They know that under Kathy Hochul's watch, they have tried cycle after cycle to suppress New York voters, to illegally draw districts. We had multiple court cases that we won. She did mid-decade redistricting last cycle to try to rig the election. And remember, this was in front of the ballot, Sid. This was voted on by New Yorkers who voted down. They voted down illegal redistricting because they supported the nonpartisan redistricting commission. What did Kathy Hochul do? Because they couldn't win at the ballot box, she went through illegal redistricting, and we lost a few seats. But we still won the House majority because we worked hard to elect Republican candidates in the state of New York. So for her to point fingers at Texas, which, by the way, in their state constitution, they do allow it, it is just a farce on its face. She is a Hochul the hypocrite. She has led this charge for illegal gerrymandering, but New Yorkers are smart. They push back. The courts push back, and we're going to certainly push back again. They are desperate, Sid. It's because they cannot win at the ballot box.
And all they do is run against Trump. Like Mamdani, you know, he mentions Trump a lot more than Cuomo, Adams, or Curtis. I guess he thinks he's running against Trump. And Hochul does the same thing. She came out yesterday and Trump this and Trump that, and we're going to fight him as if she's some courageous, brave figure for fighting a man. You know, the same thing with Washington, D.C., Elise. I mean, Muriel Bowser's a liar. Washington, D.C. is not safe. Not any day of the week. I've been there a million times, so have you. It's not safe. All the president did was help. He helped. And if New York needs it one day, or Chicago or Los Angeles, why would anybody get angry about somebody trying to help their city inside their state? But Hochul thinks fighting with Trump makes her brave and courageous. I think it makes her an idiot.
But that's what she says in public, Sid. The reality is, in private, she goes down to the White House quietly and begs for various issues that she needs, because she knows that she is hemorrhaging support every single day. And she quietly goes down to the White House, tries to keep it out of the media, to try to have an amicable relationship with President Trump. President Trump knows a weak governor when he sees it. He knows Kathy Hochul is the weakest among them. And tying this back to the crime issue in Washington, D.C., President Trump is exactly right. D.C., the crime crisis has skyrocketed. I know this. I am in D.C. when Congress is in session. My young son is in D.C. with me when Congress is in session, and it is unsafe for families. And the residents of D.C., they support President Trump's leadership on this issue where Democrats have failed. I'll tell you, in New York State, New York City, we need President Trump's strong leadership, which is why I'm going to lead the effort in Congress to get rid of this failed bail reform, to not allow this criminals first policies that has caused just an unbelievable increase in violent crimes in New York State, specifically New York City.
That little boy is so cute. Elise.
You know, he's turning 4 next week.
He is? I can,
Yep.
I could see it a year ago already. Crazy. More than a year. Almost 14 months walking into the Milwaukee, Wisconsin Convention Center for the RNC. And he was like dancing and so proud to see his mommy up on stage. He is an adorable little boy. Congratulations to him. 4 years old. Just beautiful. You know, the governor thing is what we talk about with you. Now, I know that you had the opportunity to be the UN ambassador. You did the most unselfish thing, and you stepped down, which made President Trump very, very happy because we need you in Congress. But I think me and President Trump in New York knows now we need you to run this state. Now, you have not announced it yet. Somebody told me this morning, well, she wants to wait till after the mayor's results come in because if Mamdani wins, that may make her run even easier. When are you just going to officially announce, because you're going to do it. You're going to do it. When are you going to officially announce you're running for governor?
I think it's very important that we have a big year in the local elections. We have important elections on Long Island. We have important elections all across the state. And this is going to lay the groundwork. It's why I launched Save Our State, Sid, to make sure that we can support these local candidates, whether it's county executives on Long Island or key mayor's races, not just in New York City, but across New York State. That will build the groundwork. And look, this sort of situation is going to be dependent upon what that outcome is. And I think you're exactly right. If Zoran Mamdani wins, people are going to look for a check on this radical agenda. Kathy Hochul will not provide that. She is weak. She is the worst governor. She owns. This happened on her watch. You know, I'll tell you, if Cuomo was still governor, Mamdani would not be winning this primary for mayor because Cuomo would have never let that happen in today's New York Democrat Party. But the reality is here we are. So people are focused on this election. Then they're going to turn their attention to the governor's race. And talk about another attack on our election integrity. Kathy Hochul, remember, when I was put up for nomination, it was Kathy Hochul, Hakeem Jeffries, and the New York State Democrats who were going to suppress the will of my voters and wanted to delay the special election until they wanted to have it for months. For 9 months, they were going to delay it, even though in New York State, the law is very clear that it happens to happen within less than 100 days. The law is specific between 70 to 90 days since the vacancy. But it was Kathy Hochul working with Hakeem Jeffries who wanted to literally not allow my constituents to have a member of Congress to vote on their behalf. That is how corrupt Democrats are. And yet they point fingers at election issues, which Texas has every right to redistrict. It's not banned by their constitution the way it is in New York State.
5 minutes to go with the great Elise Stefanik. You know, Hochul, of course, you talked about waiting till after the other elections come in. It makes a whole lot of sense to me, but there was a lot of talk about our mutual friend, Congressman Mike Lawler, running against you. Well, not against you, but he would primary you. But President Trump called him in the office, and, he's not going to primary you now. Something tells me that Bruce Blakeman's not going to do it either. But what were you thinking when you heard that Mike Lawler was not going to primary you?
You know, look, this House majority, people are working very hard to hold these seats, and Mike Lawler is a great congressman for that district, and that's a tough seat. It was a seat we worked very hard. He worked very hard to earn back, and as Congressman Lawler will tell you, we were among the first to support him. We were his biggest advocate in terms of his ability to defeat Sean Patrick Maloney at the time, the DCCC chair, and we're going to make sure that we're with the entire delegation every step of the way to hold this House majority and to pick up seats and to fight back as a team against single-party Democrat rule in New York State. So while, plans change, I think this is very important that we all focus on pulling in the same direction.
Curtis Sliwa, I'm asked every day, Elise, can he win? Can he win? What do I know? Yes, I think he can win. I think he's doing a really good job. He's the only guy surging in the polls. But I get asked this question, too. Michael Henry up against Letitia James, who's in all kinds of trouble. All kinds of trouble. Can Michael Henry win?
Yes, absolutely he can win. I see Michael Henry every week crisscrossing the state at various events. He came close to defeating Tish James. You talk about the worst governor in America and Kathy Hochul, the worst attorney general, the most corrupt attorney general is Tish James. Whether it's her mortgage fraud, whether it's the, tens of millions of dollars of New York taxpayer funds that are paying for her legal fees, whether it was her witch hunt, which was illegal, unethical, against President Trump, she is not fit for that job. And Michael Henry will bring ethics, and he will bring accountability back to the Attorney General's office. But she's got a lot of problems, and they're only going to get worse for her because, while she says no one is above the law, she needs to apply that to herself for her illegal mortgage.
That is well said. So on the way out, I texted you yesterday. I said, Elise, you're probably not watching this swill. I have no choice. It's on in the newsroom. This Joe and Mika, these horrible people, this whole horrible network, thank God it's going away. But they spent 75 minutes, the first 75 minutes yesterday, talking about you getting booed off the stage. There you were, eulogizing this person that everybody loved in your district. Everybody loved this person, John Zerlo. You're doing a wonderful thing. And these animals, these progressive, radical Democrat rioters couldn't even respect that. How disappointing was that for you?
You know, what the Democrats don't realize is this backfires immensely for them. You're exactly right, Sid. This was a non-political event. This was to commemorate and rename the building after a longtime county clerk, John Zerlo, who is beloved by the community. He's a Republican. He was a teacher before he was a county clerk. His family is well known. I've been in many parades. I know him well. He was actually the first elected official when I was first running for Congress that I met at a local event in Clinton County. And here I am, 28 years old, and he went back and told all of the fellow Republicans, we've got a great candidate for Congress. So I know John Zerlo very, very well. And for them to hijack this event, it was very sophisticated, and it was working with the New York Democrats to turn this into a farce and a disgrace. His family was incredibly gracious because, of course, I said to them, you know, I'm very, very sorry that they did this to this event targeting me. And they said, we were so proud to have you there, but the constituents in this district are so angry. We have gotten more support than ever before from Clinton County, which, by the way, was a Democrat county before I ran. We have flipped that county to Republican. It's the most northeastern county in New York State. So, you know, Joe and Mika have attacked me many times over the years, but what the Democrats don't realize is they are so unhinged, and it is a disgrace that it backfires on them. And we only have more support. But this is a sophisticated operation, Sid, because they quickly turn this into a national media story. But the reality is voters are smart. They see through this. It was heinous that these highly organized protesters were shouting pedophile, were shouting genocide. John Zerlo's widow, Mrs. Zerlo, who is in her mid-80s in a wheelchair, had tears in her eyes listening to this. The left should be ashamed of themselves. This is Kathy Hochul's party. It is a disgrace. And people understand they need strong leadership, and they should never, no matter disagreement of politics, you should never do that to a grieving family when it is a non-political event.
They were screaming F Christianity also. Just,
yes, they were screaming F Christianity. They had signs that had the F word. There were children. Again, it's a disgrace. This is the Democrat Party today. And, of course, MSN, whatever it's called now. I like when Trump calls it MSDNC. He's really destroyed that network pretty effectively. But whatever they're rebranding as, they're going to continue to lose viewers. And if the left wants to attack me, it's not the first time. Our support only grows stronger.
This is Kathy Hochul's New York. I love that. That was great. Elise, we love you, whether you're serving in Congress. Listen, again, we all want you to be governor. You know that already. I'm not breaking news here. We all want you to be governor, but in any capacity, you're one of the great Americans and fighters. Thank you for coming on this morning, Elise Stefanik. We'll do it again very soon. God bless you.
Thanks, Sid.
Elise Stefanik right there, the amazing congresswoman, and hopefully the next governor here in New York. She is terrific.